Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, seeing what's going on. Happy Tuesday to you. We're going to jump into some high block capital charts and also, more importantly, kind of some Bitcoin, CME futures that haven't been filled yet. We got some gaps that need to be kind of looked at and just kind of acknowledged. So if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, right? I love to teach people to trade. Hope you can learn something here today. Quick heads up, if you are following us on Twitter, don't worry, it'll be back up and running here shortly. We just had to do some additional verification, and unfortunately there's a lot of scammers out there, so they're just making sure out of caution they ensure that we are who we say we are. So it's actually a good thing. It'll work out better for us in the long run. So just a heads up on that. We'll get that back up and running here very shortly. Moving forward though, here with Bitcoin, we're testing a previous resistance level turned support roughly at 27,000. So keep in mind, we are kind of sort of trying to bounce off that level. We'll look at this a little deeper and kind of see what's going on, but that's roughly the scenario there. What we want to jump into first is some high block capital data though, just so we can kind of see big picture what's going on, because there's been a slight shift in momentum here. In other words, we can see with global bid-ask spread ratio, we can see that there's less people trying to buy than sell. So people are trying to sell more than they are buy right now. We can also see whales are still fairly active, and they typically are very active. I've noticed when the price action comes down. So anytime there's a price dip, we'll see whales a lot more active than retail. Okay, now it basically just means that they are consistently buying and selling at those lower price points, and it makes a lot of sense because they know something that we don't, right? Hopefully we can figure that out. But what I'm getting at here is the fact that we see a little less longs today than yesterday, the day before. So folks are kind of closing their long positions and potentially opening shorts. So we're kind of seeing this point right now, and this happens a lot. We get longs and short positions kind of averaging themselves out as far as like break even is concerned. In other words, we have just as many longs as we do shorts at this level. So it really just tells us there's indecisiveness at this support resistance range of 27,000. Okay, so that's kind of a good sign in a way, but it's also like a flip a coin situation where who knows what's going to happen next, because ultimately we're either got to bounce out that level or it's going to break down and come down further. Okay, now looking at CME Gaps might help us. We'll look at that in here in a minute, but just to quickly note here, we can see with open interest, we got the most amount of positions here for our longs that are currently underwater at 27,100. As far as shorts are concerned, they're probably likely in the green. We got some early shorts that are kind of in the red, but some late shorts that are sort of in the green. So generally speaking, that's kind of, most of the price action is averaged between 27,000 and 27,200. So 27/27.2, that's the range. Okay, now as obviously you can kind of see that here in the price action. So let's take a quick peek at the CME futures here. So in case you're curious of what this blue is here, it's basically just it's like a half-filled scenario. So we had a gap here, of course, back on May 10th, and that hasn't been filled. It was halfway filled here with a candle wick up. You can see here right there at about 27.7. So there's basically a gap between 27,600 and 27,900. That's still yet to be filled. We also have a gap here as well that opened up between Friday and Sunday, and that is essentially one that still needs to be filled here from 26,500 to 26,900. So what happens when you're kind of averaging yourself out between those two? Well, a lot of things can happen. Oftentimes you'll see a sharp candle wick down or up to fill the gap, and then the price action kind of sables itself out. But the bottom line here is that we still also have a gap here, which doesn't necessarily need to be filled right away, but we still have a gap between 29.2 and 29.7. Okay, so there's three different gaps here that still need to be filled with the price action. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out. If we look at Bitcoin dominance here, we can kind of see that we're still within that resistance range, roughly between 48 and 49%. And it's probably just going to continue to hold at that level until we see significant amount of volume come into the market. So not much is going on there. We can see altcoins are significantly increasing here right now, which is a pretty good sign. A lot of those are coins like Render Token. There's also XRD. CFX, a handful of other ones I got my eyes on here, but I haven't had any alerts trigger yet. So if you're part of my community, just patience, okay? Trust me, we'll get there. We almost got our day trades available too. Really excited for that. Gonna actually have a meeting with our web guys today. So we're gonna take a look here back at Bitcoin, just kind of summarize what's going on here on the charts, and we're gonna see how we're looking, okay? So let's go ahead and see what's going on. So we can see a lot of candle wicks up and down. We saw that nasty candle wick on Friday all the way down to 25.7. Price sustains itself at 26,700. So 26.7 is the tentative support. We can see that with the candle bodies closing. We can also see that that is a support range 2 outside of this previous one here, because we can see a lot of price action in this level where the price wicks down and rarely stays below that. Okay, so good news is we're above that support, but bad news is we're technically lower than the previous lowest candlestick close. So 27,000 was the previous support level. Now we're kind of treading water at 27,000 / 26.7. So it's not fantastic. I don't love to see that, but it is what it is. Okay. So that being said, if we take a look down here at a few other factors, we can see, actually, let's go ahead and focus more specifically on these two here, which the RSI is still under 50, but above 30. Okay. So generally speaking, you've heard me say this a million times. If you're new to the channel, welcome to this first time you may be hearing this, but anything below 50 is typically considered bearish. So we're still, in the overall sense of things, bearish on Bitcoin until it breaks above that level. Same thing applies here as well. We're still diverging, even though we're diverging less, we're still moving down effectively on the MACD. Okay, so until we can get that to swing upwards and maybe close above 50, I'm not going to be super thrilled about long positions right now. Yes, we have a long position as a community, but that was a swing trade with a small position size and low leverage. Okay, it's designed to be held for longer periods. When it comes to day trades, maybe don't just buy now and hope for the best and fall asleep and wake up tomorrow to see what happens. You want to close it in the same trading day that you're alert and awake. All right, let's take a quick look at the moving averages. We can see we're below both the 50 and the 20, also a bearish sign, above the 200, but that doesn't really matter too much at this point. That's so far away that it's it's irrelevant, right? But this is where things get relevant on the 4-hour, because this is where we can kind of see a shift in momentum, or potentially. Now, we were looking fairly bullish yesterday, but that has changed a little bit because we came up here to establish a higher high, right? But it's not really all that strong. And to keep in mind, this current low is still kind of close to its previous low, so we're not really in a position where we can say definitively, hey, it's going to bounce, it's going to continue higher. Because when we take a look at the RSI, we are just kind of treading water here, right between 50 and like 45, 55 range, right? Money is flowing out of the coin, so the price is selling off, coming down, and we see the MACD here trying to diverge. Now, this is a pretty significant sign here, because when this comes down, we have a tendency of seeing the price action coming down with it, okay? So generally speaking, when you see a MACD divergence on the horizon, you obviously want to try to wait for it to come through, but it makes a lot more sense for the price to drop than it would to increase based on this momentum to the downside, okay? So keep in mind this little push here has been fairly unsuccessful, but it's also looking like it's primed and ready to drop. So I do not like what I see here on the charts. There's really nothing positive here on the 4-hour. Yes, we are. Well, no, we are not. We're tentatively below both moving averages here as well, the relevant ones as far as quicker moving averages. So I don't see a lot of positivity here. All right, so not looking great. So that momentum from yesterday hasn't carried over. While it is nice that we're consolidating at this previous resistance, there's no guarantees it's going to bounce. Okay, let's take a look at the 1-hour and kind of see where we're at in the cloud. We're now traveling within and below the cloud. While we haven't officially broken below, we're pretty darn close. We got the conversion line below the baseline. Lagging span is free and clear of price action. So there's a lot of reasons here as to why we shouldn't expect the price action to increase, and we have more potential for the price to continue lower. Main reason why is if you take a look at here at its previous past, ever since May 7th, which is roughly 9 trading days ago, we can see the price action got rejected here, and also, even though it broke through here, we can see that it was pretty much staying below the cloud this entire time, this entire downtrend. Okay, now that we've broken above, that's all well and good, but you got to keep in mind, we're almost officially below at this point. So if we have a candlestick closure today at 27,000, it's a great chance that the Asian markets will open up and they will effectively dump the market. Okay, they're pretty good about getting the price action to come down, but again, they're really good about getting the price action to increase too. So just pay attention here. It's really important to know, I guess, time frame wise, depending on where you're at least here in the States, I mean, you're looking at somewhere between what that'd be 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. is roughly when the most volatility occurs from the Asian markets. Okay, so again, that is something to note. So as soon as that market opens, we're going to see what decision they want to make, if the price is going to go up or down. Okay, it's very common for us to see somewhat of a sporadic increase or decrease when they open for their market there. Anyways, just again, something to note. So to summaries here, we've seen on the daily and the 4-hour both bearish qualities. We can also see confirmation almost. We're very, very close to confirming the price action below the cloud. That being said, if we cannot close, just say 27,200 or higher today, then there's a great chance we're going to see the price continue lower. It may actually continue lower as we speak. We never truly know, but the bottom line is that there's not a lot of not a lot of positivity here, I guess you could say. If we take a look at TD sequential too, it doesn't really note too much. I mean, we did come down to a 9, had that overextended state, and the price action has since reset down to a 7. This isn't a momentous downtrend, it is still coming to an end, so there's potential we might see one last little rally before the next drop, just based on the overall sense of things here. So again, big picture, medium picture, not looking great in the overall sense here. I think that we are more due for a correction to the downside than we are for the upside. As much as I want to be a Bitcoin bull right now, there's not a lot of proof here showing that we're in good shape. The only kind of benefit we have tentatively is that 27,000 is currently holding, and that is a potential support level. You got to keep in mind, it can only hold as a support for so long. Okay, so I think that there's a good chance we're going to break down, but if we can close just say 27,200, 27,300 a day, I think we might be in pretty decent shape to be able to see some type of recovery or potential increase here. Because technically speaking, we are seeing higher lows right now. Okay, if you compare that with the most recent low back on Sunday. Okay, so some positivity there, yes, but it's not enough to warrant a full-on long position with confidence. Okay, so please be careful and cautious. Obviously, trading this market, it is a heck of a market to trade in, and a crazy, crazy world we live in too. And also, friendly advice again with our whole Twitter experience recently. Just be sure that you are being careful and cautious with who you trust online. I'll never direct message you. My admin will never direct message you. We're here to help. So if you reach out to us first, obviously we'll respond and make sure that we help you to the best of our ability. But you should never receive solicitations from us. You can go to our website and use any of our resources and subscribe. But between now and then, just please be careful. That's half the reason why we're in this situation, because of these wonderful scammers that have a tendency of just ripping off some good people like you and I, right? Sorry that happens, and I hope that you can be safe. Thanks so much for joining me here. We'll see you in tomorrow's video. Have a great rest of your day.